Okay, let's just dive right into this. If you've got a demanding 9 to 5, that idea of a side hustle is pretty tempting, right? But the two main paths people take, consulting and freelancing, are so often misunderstood. And let me tell you, choosing the wrong one for your life can turn that dream of extra income into an absolute nightmare of burnout.
Because that's the real question, isn't it? You're looking for some extra income, maybe some fulfillment, not a one-way ticket to complete and utter exhaustion. The goal is to build something on the side of your career, not to have it crush what's left of you. So how do you pick the path that actually energizes you instead of draining you?
Most people start right here, and it's the biggest mistake you can make. They ask themselves, okay, which one's going to make more money? Or which one looks better on my LinkedIn profile? But that is totally the wrong way to start. A side hustle that looks great on paper but doesn't actually fit into your real life, it's a recipe for disaster.
And this brings us to what I call the side hustle trap. It's this belief that more is always better, but for a 9-to-5 professional, fit is infinitely more important than more.
So let's just reframe this entire conversation. We're not looking for the best model in some kind of abstract vacuum. No, we're looking for the model that fits your schedule, your energy levels, your tolerance for risk, and most importantly, protects your primary career. That right there, that's the key.
To find that fit, we first have to understand the fundamental difference between these two paths. And it has nothing to do with the industry you're in, it's all about the nature of the work itself. It really just boils down to one thing: execution versus judgment.
All right, freelancing. This is all about execution. A client hires you to do a specific thing. Write the code, design the logo, edit the video. They know what they want, and you are the skilled pair of hands that delivers it. You're basically trading a block of your time and your skill for a payment. It's super concrete, super direct.
Consulting, on the other hand, is a totally different beast. It's judgment-based. A client hires you for your insight, for your perspective, for your strategic mind. You're getting paid for what you know and how you think, not just for producing a big volume of work. And this is such a crucial distinction, because you're trading leverage, your expertise, for money, not just your raw time.
So now that we've got that clear, we can really put these two models to the test. Let's run them through what I'm calling the 9-to-5 fit test and see how they stack up against the real-world constraints that a full-time professional is dealing with every single day.
First up, the two resources you have the least of: time and energy. Freelancing, well, it requires predictable blocks of execution time. You have to sit down and actually do the work. And after a long day at the office, finding that production energy can feel like squeezing water from a stone. Consulting, on the other hand, often requires less total time, but, and this is key, it demands high-quality thinking. It taps into your judgment energy, which for a lot of professionals is actually way less draining than more execution.
Okay, now let's talk money and scale. With freelancing, you're typically priced per hour or per project. That means your income is directly tied to the hours you can work. There's a hard ceiling on that. You can't create more time. Consulting, though, is often priced based on the value you deliver. Your advice could save a company millions. This allows you to decouple your income from your hours worked, which is pretty much the holy grail for anyone with limited time. What about when your main job gets absolutely crazy? Well, freelancing often locks you into some pretty strict deadlines. If a big project at work blows up your week, you could be in serious trouble. Consulting is often easier to structure with more flexibility. You can pause or slow things down. The risk is different too. With freelancing, the risk is overload and burnout, plain and simple. With consulting, the risk is more psychological. It's the pressure of providing high-stakes advice. For most people, that time-based risk of freelancing is a lot harder to manage.
And what about the day-to-day reality? Freelancing clients often expect constant updates and revisions. That means more emails, more messages, a higher cognitive load. Scope creep is this constant battle you're always fighting. In consulting, when you set it up right, you have fewer, much more focused interactions. The boundaries are just clearer. You advise, you don't execute. It's a model that can be far less of a constant drain on your attention.
So, after running the fit test, where do we land? What's the verdict? And maybe more importantly, what's the most practical path forward for you?
For most professionals, a well-structured consulting side hustle is simply a better fit. It usually requires fewer hours, it scales better with your limited time, and it uses a less draining form of energy. It's also just easier to pause when your main job gets demanding. All this creates less day-to-day stress, and honestly, it can often be done more discreetly, which is a huge bonus when you have a primary career you need to protect.
Now, this does not mean freelancing is impossible. It can work, but, and this is a big but,
only if you follow some very strict rules. The scope has to be incredibly narrow, the tasks have to be low-drain for you personally, and client expectations must be ruthlessly managed from day one. Seriously, uncontrolled freelancing is one of the fastest ways for a professional to burn out.
Okay, so what if you're still not sure which path is right? There's a smart, low-risk middle ground here. Think of it as a hybrid path. You can start with a tiny, really well-defined freelance project, not to build a freelancing empire, but just to test the waters. See if there's real demand for your skills. Once you get that confidence and you truly understand what problems clients are facing, then you can transition into a more advisory, consulting role. It's a fantastic, no-regrets way to get started.
So the most crucial point here is this. Forget the hype. Forget what everyone else is doing. A side hustle for someone with a career doesn't need to be about maximizing income at all costs. It needs to be about maximizing its fit within your life. That is the only metric that matters for long-term success and your sanity.
Ultimately, the goal is to create options for yourself without creating more pressure. The best side hustle is the one that complements your career, not competes with it. It should respect your energy and, above all, protect the job that pays your bills. So now that you know the real difference in fit, which path will you choose?